In this video, I'm going to be talking about how I'm going to get my fantasy book published in 2026 and how you can too. Let's get into it. To start, most often when people think of getting their book published, they see themselves as having a very small chance of that ever being a reality. And there's a reason for this. Traditional publishing, which has so many strengths to it, we're going to get into that, is also very hard to get into. Brandon Sanderson, who openly speaks about his journey into authorship, he's a very popular fantasy author. If you haven't checked him out, highly recommend him. Will tell you it took him 12 years to break in and get his first book published. I think at that time he had written 7 books. At that point, he had 7 books down, and then finally one of them got picked up after years of cycling through different manuscripts, sending them out to different editors and agents trying to get picked up. Traditional publishing does have so many strengths to it. Let's go through it. 1, it's a respected institution. 2, someone is going to handle the distribution of your books. 3, you're going to get paid a little bit at the forefront. That's amazing. That's sweet. 4, you're going to have people editing your books with you and for you. 5, let's say it's really popular. Immediately, you get another book deal. Some of the weaknesses, obviously, it takes forever to break in. They no longer want, this is number 2, some of the weaknesses of traditional publishing, they no longer want mid-range authors. It used to be that you could be a kind of, maybe you sell your books at the truck stop and you're not Brandon Sanderson, but you make enough to make a profit. Great. They're not as interested in those like middle line authors anymore. They want rock stars. And so on your first book's release, if it isn't a rock star release, it can really hurt your chances of getting a second book published, traditionally at least. 3rd, you lose creative control over your piece in some ways, right? Like you can still vie for things, but ultimately you are responsible to not only your agent, but to your editor and to the publisher that you have sold your book to. And that includes things like cover art. You might not get to control your cover art if that matters to you. And then I would say, finally, I think this is 5, and this is kind of key, I would say, to me at least. Most of the time, when you are going to publish a book, nowadays, you are expected to already have a following, making traditional publishing kind of a luxury for people who don't. It's not, oh, if I get my book published, I'll have an audience that the book company will hand it out to. I mean, there's some truth in that, right? Like, certainly, they can get to Barnes & Noble where book people are. However, they expect you to already have that audience going in. I would say like 10,000 is usually what I've heard, followers as a minimum baseline before you start sending out your query letters to agents and editors asking for them to review your book. 10,000 followers is a big deal. That's a lot of work. That's the kind of work I would expect you to do to start your book. If you're talking pre-publishing, right? Even the year of editing that's going to happen after that. 10,000 followers on you to bring to the table baseline, bare minimum, before they'll look at your book. For traditional publishing, that's a huge drawback in my opinion. If you have the competency to build a following of 10,000, I think you have the following to build one of 50, of 100,000, and eventually to get into Barnes & Noble on your own. And certainly, if it's taking guys like Brandon Sanderson 12 years to get his first book out there anyways, what you doing for the next 12 years? If it's worth it to you, do it. You can have your book published this year. You can have total creative control over that book. You will have to do your own editing, and you can build your audience as you go. And that's exactly what I'm thinking I'm going to do here. That's my goal. Is just like, it's fine. It doesn't need to be a bestseller today because I'm the publisher. I can release it to the fan base that I have now and build out further as I go. I have fantasy novels I've written. I can incorporate them into, I'm writing a fantasy graphic novel now, so it's a little bit of a pivot, but yeah, it'll be good. It'll be great. And we can just continue to grow as we go, and it'll be a fun time. I'm happy to do the marketing for myself. I realize that to do this, even after, right? Like there's a lot of front facing you have to do as a traditional published author if you want to continue to get your books to grow. And so no big deal. I think the rule is a good rule to say, like, yes, it's very hard to get your book published, but I think we should address that traditionally. The real thing is very hard to do is get your book seen. But I think that you face that challenge regardless of whether or not you're going to do traditional, hybrid, or independent publishing. And so for me, it just depends on whether or not you want the flair that comes with traditional publishing when you publish. And if you do, go for it. Take it. It's yours. Like, more power to you. I absolutely respect that. However, if you have a book that you're ready to publish, or you will be ready to publish sometime this year, let me talk to you. Come on in. Amazon has partnered with Kindle Direct Publishing. They work together, KDP, and that publishing source allows you to independently publish books. Not only will they go onto Amazon, which is the number one electronic shop in the world, but they'll also go onto Kindle. Kindle is a great place to get your books seen. So many people have Kindles, use Kindles, have monthly subscriptions for Kindle. You can even choose to have your books be free to those monthly subscribers and get paid per page read. And so it's not the hurdle of paying for them is over. They've already paid for the monthly subscription. Now they're just turning pages. And if you've got work that's compelling to turn, then great. You can get paid for that. Very low cost entry, almost kind of like YouTube, where it's just like, hey, you don't have to pay a thing to watch this video. If you don't mind, there's going to be an ad. Maybe sit through it. If you don't want to sit through it, no biggie. But this is for you. Enjoy this, and the company will pay me. It's totally okay. We're going to figure this out together. We're going to, as an author, you're going to build multiple. An indie author, you're going to build multiple streams of revenue. So for like YouTube, yes, your products, which are your books, yes, other kinds of formats, maybe courses, maybe whatever. My point is like, you can do it. You can get yours published today. So if you haven't and you want to, you should check out Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing. You should look at the different formats they have for their books. I'm using a 6x9 format. It's the kind of format that I like to see books in. Not that I don't have a variety of different sizes, but in my head, I want them all to fit neatly inside like a bread box. I don't know. And so I like seeing my books that way. I think it's a fun way to kind of make them. I don't want them to be mini. I want them to be portable, placeable inside a bag, right? So you can carry them around, kind of thing. I have these Adventure Time comics that are, I don't know, maybe tall, maybe like 14 inches tall. Maybe that's an overassessment, but it's just like not very portable. Anyways, I want these to be portable for us, but there's a whole variety of sizes you can choose and go with, and start formatting your book out. If you don't have anything that you can type your book onto, or in my case, I'm using Procreate. Really, what you need is the ability to make PDFs. If you can make PDFs, you're golden. You're going to be just fine. Word can do that. Google Docs can do that. Google Drive is free. Check it out. Procreate, if you're making pictures, I love Procreate. If you have an iPad, it's a great time. If you don't have an iPad, but you have the ability to draw digitally, Autodesk, I believe, is free. It's from Maya. Maya makes some really great products. I would check them out. And I would just get to work. I would start hammering away at what I wanted to make. I'd be willing. Writing is rewriting. You have to be your own self-editor, or find someone you trust to help edit with you. My advice would be to read some books on editing. I like everything from Stephen King on writing to C.S. Lewis on writing, which, funny enough, share the same name. But there's a whole bunch of good writing books out there that can help you think through, are you delivering the line and the punch that you want to deliver? If not, how can you adjust? How can you do this a little differently? And are you really speaking in a way that you want to speak to get your book out there? Cover creation, I would say find someone who you trust as an artist and pay them, or Procreate or Autodesk if you are the artist, great. If you don't have access to any online material, well, friend, you do need online material to get to KDP. You need. I would advise you to type your book. You could handwrite it if you really wanted to. Maybe that's the style you're going for. Maybe that's going to work. Maybe you're writing like as if they're diaries and you're using some kind of fun handwritten font. Okay, that's cool. Write it out, scan it, turn it into a PDF, send it to Kindle Direct Publishing. You can do it, guys. What I want to encourage you with is this. The question is not, can I get my book published this year? If it's important enough to you and you want to, you absolutely can. The question is then, how do I get it seen? And that's a different conversation, one we'll hit in other videos to come. We'll continue to have conversations like these. All these, I'm very much into the realm of fantasy. I'm also very much into the realm of book writing. And we have more conversations to come. So make sure you like, you subscribe, and you let me know what you want to see next in the comments. Thanks so much. Bye.